you see the brokerage industry heading in the next 5 to 10 years?
In the opposite direction of where I'm hoping to be headed. Obviously, there will be brokers around, I think, forever. Just like used car salesmen or whatever it is. Salesmen will always be there to sell anything. Brokerage industry, if they don't change rules and regulations anytime soon, then this is going to happen forever. Nobody's ever going to learn. What I'm hoping for is that they change some regulation. They change the way brokers are at least compensated, or the way the system works, where you have to have credentials, you have to know something to be able to recommend it to somebody else. An analyst has a better idea. I can't say knows. Has a better guess, a more educated guess on where a particular security or industry can be headed. But it's a casino, you know what I mean? So it's all about playing the odds. A broker doesn't even have that going for him. It's a matter of a story. So as far as salesmen, there will always be around, I believe. Is there going to be growing competition? I think so. There's going to be a lot of growing competition for the brokerage industry by guys that can provide a better service. But again, an honest guy with honest service that can really potentially positively impact a client's bottom line hardly ever has a chance against a trained salesman. It's like hiring an assassin. They do not fail. They're salesmen. They're out there to make sure you buy. Somebody with good intentions without sales skills, you hardly stand a chance.
Okay. And what would you recommend to clients who are currently working with brokers?
That's a good question. Financial education. I think financial education is important. Educate yourself. Know what's going on. I'm not saying follow the markets every day. You're going to have gray hair by the time you're 13. But know what you're getting yourself into. Know how much risk you're exposed to. Know that there are ways to decrease your risk drastically when holding a security. Drastically. The broker's not going to tell you that because he doesn't know that. So just know what you're buying, when, and with who. Do research on your broker, other than going to finra.org and looking up your broker's history, which isn't going to even tell you his batting average. It's just going to tell you if he's a criminal or not, where he's worked before, and where he lives, and things like that. Find out the credentials. How many letters are after this person's name? How many? Any CPAs, MBAs, any of that? Find out. Find out if that person has credentials. Find out for a fact. Don't listen to the story of I've been doing this for 14 years. I've worked at Goldman Sachs. Well, don't listen to it. Find out for a fact. Find out letters. Find out credentials, certificates. That's really important. You want to at least know that this person has looked at a balance sheet before, or a cash flow statement, or something that knows when a company's doing well, or if they're in trouble, or something like that. I think credentials, knowing who you're doing business with, and knowing how to protect your assets.
Okay.
Critical.
And if a client has an issue with a broker, where can they turn? And can you talk a little bit about the disciplinary process that happens when there's an issue in a brokerage relationship?
Issue with a broker. Well, FINRA, right? We have FINRA and the SEC. FINRA is really in charge of arbitrations, which is basically like a mini lawsuit. So when a client has or thinks he has something to claim, a wrongdoing, they go to FINRA. And FINRA, coincidentally, is run or owned by stockbrokers themselves. hedge fund guys or whatever, guys that are on top of the industry. It's a self-regulatory organization. It means you regulate yourself, right? Imagine you're driving around in your Lamborghini, and you get to choose which speeding, parking tickets, etc. you're gonna pay for now. Are you gonna blow red lights if it's your choice of paying for that or not? You know what I mean? If you're an authority figure and you can bend and break rules, would you do it? I don't know if you're gonna do it, or I don't know if the next guy will do it, but there are people for a fact that will and do it. Okay? So a self-regulatory organization is the entity a client turns to seek justice in the brokerage industry. Not the most fair thing in the world, I think, as far as the client goes, but also not the most fair thing in the world as far as the broker goes, because the way FINRA gets paid is by giving out fines to brokers. That's how they survive. Obviously, brokers giving fines to brokers. It sounds a little crazy, but we have to make it look like it's an operating entity in an industry. So you can turn to FINRA, you can turn to the SEC, and that's probably the most amount of help that I personally know about. I really don't know, to tell you the truth. I'm guessing, listen, call a lawyer and see what your lawyer would say, whether you should go through FINRA, no FINRA, etc.
Okay. Well, John, thank you so much for sitting down with us today, providing some insights into the industry. Really appreciate it, and I think it definitely helps investors to know what's out there and where they can turn, and how they can solve issues as they arise. So, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this interview. If you have any questions about your investment situation, you should contact Athlon Wealth Management today. As an independent, fee-only registered investment advisor, we refuse to accept any commissions, referral fees, or other third-party incentives of any kind. This allows us to provide investment management services without conflicts of interest. Call us today at 347-706-1414 for a free introductory consultation with a qualified and knowledgeable investment advisor. You may also visit us on the web at athlonwealth.com for more information. That's ATHELON wealth.com. Once again, this is Alex Efros. Thanks for watching.